You know that feeling of waking up already tired? Not tired of having slept badly. Tired of everything, of thinking, of duty, of trying, of starting over, of promising and not delivering, of knowing what needs to be done and not being able to do it. It's as if your mind has been switched on since before you opened your eyes, and then you pick up your phone. Not because you want to, but because it's automatic. 5 minutes turn into 30. 30 turn into an hour, and before you know it, the day has already started wrong. Your head is already full, your mood is already compromised, and you haven't even had coffee yet. This is not weakness, this is not laziness, this is what happens to a mind trying to function at its limit. And if you recognized yourself in this now, this video was made for you. Welcome to the CLARO Method. That's exactly what we build here: calm, clarity, and mental control, even with a busy life and a tired mind. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe now. This is where we talk about what nobody taught you in school, how to think better when life gives you no respite. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I want to know where our community comes from. Now let's get down to business. There's a misconception that most people silently harbor. The idea that those who think clearly are more intelligent, that they were born with something you don't have, a gift, a quicker, more organized mind. But here's the problem. That's a lie. Mental clarity is not intelligence. Mental clarity is the ability to think without noise. And noise, you have plenty of. Everyone has it. What separates those who think clearly from those who cannot is not IQ. It's the level of noise inside their heads. And this noise has a name, a cause, and it can be reduced. A tired person starts to confuse things that look the same but are completely different. She confuses worry with planning. She keeps ruminating on the same problem for hours, thinking she's solving it, but she's not planning anything, just suffering in advance. She confuses being in a hurry with being productive. She's always busy, but at the end of the day, she can't say what she's accomplished. She confuses reaction with decision. She responds impulsively, says things she shouldn't, and then spends hours regretting it. She confuses information overload with intelligence. She consumes content all day long, but doesn't apply anything because her mind is already too full to process it. And she confuses guilt with responsibility. She keeps punishing herself for not having changed yet. But punishment isn't a plan. Punishment is just noise. And this is where most people go wrong. They think they need more motivation, more willpower, more discipline. But the problem isn't strength. The problem is noise. I'll give you an image for that. Imagine your mind is a cell phone with 3% battery left, and on that phone you have dozens of apps open at the same time. Bills, family, work, guilt, unanswered messages, dreams you haven't even started yet, fear of the future, regrets about the past. Under these conditions, you open yet another resource-intensive app. You make an important decision. You study something new. You concentrate. What happens? The phone freezes, it overheats, and you lose patience with the phone as if it were the culprit. But the problem isn't the phone. It's that it doesn't have enough power to run all of that at the same time. That's exactly how your mind works. When you try to think clearly amidst chaos, it's not that you're incapable. It's that you're trying to make important decisions with zero battery power. This has a name. It's called a tired mind. A tired mind occurs when the brain tries to solve big problems while lacking energy, bombarded with cheap stimuli, suffering from poor sleep, financial pressure, and depleted dopamine levels from hours on the phone. This is the person who decides their future after sleeping 4 hours, who tries to study after 3 hours on TikTok, who promises to change their life on Sunday night and gives up on Wednesday, who reacts badly to someone they love and then spends hours feeling guilty, who opens 10 tabs in their head and doesn't close any of them. This isn't a lack of character, it's a lack of system. And now comes the part that changes everything. There's a simple method that people who seem like geniuses use, not always consciously, to think clearly even when life is tough. I call this method CLEAR, C for cut the noise. Before tackling anything, Reduce the stimulus. Turn off your phone. Breathe. Write the problem down in one sentence, just one sentence, because whoever tries to think amidst the noise isn't thinking, they're obeying the noise. L for locate the real problem. One of the biggest mistakes tired people make is trying to solve the symptom instead of the problem. You're irritable. That's a symptom. The real problem might be poor sleep, a hefty bill, a draining relationship, or weeks without doing something you enjoy. Simple question, what is the real problem here? Write it down. Don't just leave it in your head. A. To remove emotion from the decision. Emotion is information. Anger tells you that something was unfair. Fear tells you that something matters. But emotion shouldn't be the steering wheel. It points out the problem, but it shouldn't choose the solution. Simple rule, and remember this: never decide your entire life on a bad day. Are you angry? Yes, you are. But don't send the message. Don't quit your job. Don't end the relationship. Wait for your body to calm down. Then you can decide. R stands for reduce to the next step. Tired people freeze up because they try to solve everything at once. Their whole life, all their debts, their entire future. But clarity emerges when the question changes. From, how do I fix my life? To, what is the next honest step I can take today? Just one, small, concrete. Clear the table. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Write down the numbers on your debt. Study for 20 minutes. One step, just one, and you'll already be ahead of those who haven't taken any. The one about observing the pattern. Here's the secret that makes people seem like geniuses. They don't know everything. They see patterns where others only see isolated events. You didn't lose control again. You lost control at the same time, after the same trigger, for the same reason as always. That's the pattern. And patterns can be changed. Questions to help you observe your patterns. At what time do I lose control? After which habit does my mind worsen? With which people am I most reactive? What decision do I keep repeating and later regret? That's clarity. Simple as that. If this content resonates with you, please like it now. It really helps the channel to reach those who need it. And comment below which letter of the CLARO method you most need to work on in your life right now. I'll show you the method working in real life. 3 situations, 3 ordinary people. Maria, 34 years old, is in debt, with bills piling up. She wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about debt. She spends hours on her phone looking for a solution, but ends up more anxious than when she started. Using the method, she cuts off her cell phone. She writes the problem in one sentence: I don't know how much I owe in total. She locates the real problem, which isn't the debt, but the fact that she never looks at the numbers. She pushes the emotion aside. No big financial decisions are made at the peak of anxiety. She reduces it to one step. Tomorrow morning, she opens her accounts and writes down the total. She observes. Every time she ignores the numbers, the anxiety increases. One step. Just one. She's already out of panic mode. Lucas, 22 years old, thinks he's stupid because he can't study. He opens a book, and 10 minutes later he's on his cell phone. He hates himself for it. But the problem isn't intelligence. Using the method, he cuts off his cell phone before studying. He identifies the real problem: too much stimulation and the wrong environment. He distances himself from the emotion. The guilt of thinking he's stupid is noise, not the truth. He reduces. He studies for 20 minutes with a timer without his cell phone nearby. He observes. He works best in the morning after eating, with headphones blocking out noise. Intelligence hasn't changed. The environment has changed. The result has changed. Anna, 40, explodes at her family, feels guilty, and repeats the cycle. She knows she shouldn't have spoken like that, but in the moment, she simply blurts it out. Using the method, she learns to recognize the physical signal, tension in her chest, shortness of breath, and uses this as a signal to pause. She locates what she's truly feeling: accumulated fatigue, not anger towards her family. She doesn't react at the peak. She writes down what she wants to say. She waits. She chooses an honest and calm phrase to say later. She observes. The outbursts always happen when she's had poor sleep and no time for herself. Emotional clarity isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about not letting feelings take over during rush hour. And now I need to be direct with you. The problem isn't that you want clarity. The problem is that you want to think like a clear-sighted person, but you keep training your mind like a confused person. Staying up late is training brain fog. Watching short videos for hours is training impatience. Complaining without taking action is training helplessness. Making decisions in desperation is training chaos. Starting and stopping is training your mind to distrust yourself. But the opposite is also true. Every small repetition in the right direction is training clarity. A night going to bed earlier, a day without your cell phone in the morning, a decision made calmly, a problem written down in one sentence, a next step taken with intention. A tired mind can be retrained, not overnight, but one day at a time. Mental clarity has three enemies: excessive stimulation, excessive unprocessed emotion, and excessive problems without any order. And it has three allies: short silences, 5 minutes already change your mental state. Simple writing, put the problem on paper and it stops spinning in your head. And the next small action, because movement creates clarity, and clarity creates more movement. You don't need a perfect life to think clearly. You need a system simple enough to function even when life is difficult. People will assume you're a genius, not because you know everything, but because you stop before reacting, because you see the real problem while others are still caught up in the noise, because you choose your next move when everyone around you is stuck. This isn't talent, this is practice, this is a system, this is what we build here. You don't need to be born with a brilliant mind. You can build a clear mind. One day, one decision, one small system at a time. Comment below, clear mind, if you want to train your mind to get out of survival mode. Also, tell me which area of your life needs clarity the most right now. Money, focus, emotions, or routine. And leave a like before you go. Every like puts this content in front of someone who needs to hear it today. The next video is already playing on the screen. It's about something that's silently destroying the focus of many people and that almost no one talks about openly. You'll want to watch it. Until then, calmly and clearly.